Okay, so we just experienced a complete emotional roller coaster. If you didn't drop a tear, have some laughs, have some questions, if you didn't go through all of that, something's wrong with you. You're not human, and you really got some soul searching to do. Period. And I'm like, come on through, Cookie. I'm going up on my soapbox. That's basically it. Let's talk about drag in all its forms. What, Cookie? Hey guys, thanks so much for clicking on the video. This is my review for Season 2, Episode 4 of Pose. Like I said, it was an emotional roller coaster, which most of the time it is, but we really went there. A lot of stuff got covered, a whole lot of stuff. A lot of ballroom stuff got covered right in the beginning, so let's start there. First of all, when we first start off, baby, I look up and I see Miss Laomi. And they were doing Love Bazaar, and they were voguing. I was like, okay, cool. I was glad to see Laomi, but y'all know Love Bazaar is my absolute favorite Sheila E. song. And then they had the nerve to have her and Prince to get... Listen. We ain't even gonna get into it. I still listen to Love Bazaar probably 3-4 days out of the week. Every week. Love that song. Anyway, then we saw Deshaun Wesley. He was in there voguing, showing y'all basically, there was a time where, okay, so the song Vogue came out, and then it was like, okay, Madonna, it was like Madonna came up with Vogue. Madonna didn't come up with Vogue. Madonna, she kind of pushed it mainstream, but the voguing that you actually see her doing and the voguing that you see in the ballroom are completely different. And when all of that happened, it was nice for it to go mainstream, but it was necessary for what we do to remain what we do. Okay, if you understand that and you can follow that. To this day, when you look at the gay kids Vogue versus heterosexuals Vogue, you can tell the difference. And it's not, there's no shade to that. There's no us against them type of thing to that. It is ours. We created it. We do it better. That's just the way it is. It's just the way it is. That's just the way it is. There's a difference. There's a difference in what you see mainstream, and there's a difference in what you actually see on the ballroom floor. Period. That's all I'm saying. And anybody could try to argue that. Anybody could try to debunk what I'm saying. But you could just go pull up a video. You can pull up a video on YouTube right now and see somebody voguing in somebody's video. Like just any random video. And you see someone voguing. And then you go back and pull up a ballroom throwbacks video. Or any type of ballroom video that you can find that is current on YouTube, and you will see a difference. And it's like this. Not that this one is bad, but this one is just better. It's ours. It was ours. It was ours from the beginning. It will always be ours. We will always stay ahead of it. And that's just the way it will be. Mainstream will do whatever they're doing, and I promise you the children will always bump it up to another level. It will always remain like this because it was ours, not Madonna's. Anyway, so that was what you were actually seeing in that moment. And that's why we pulled out the heavy hitters were pulled out, the Naomi's and the Deshaun Wesleys. That's why the heavy hitters were there. So you can see the real shit. Period. Anyway, and I was glad to see them. Anyway, but those two, Naomi and Deshaun Wesley, are staples in the ballroom. Complete legends and staples, living legends. Anyway, back in the time that they were doing, you would have seen the Willie Ninjas of the world. Because Miss Willie Ninja used to light the ballroom floor up. And the extravaganzas, honey, they used to light the ballroom up. Anyway, that's a whole nother thing. Another time, y'all, another time. Okay, so we went through the Vogue change-up, and then they were doing, the category is lofting, and it was kind of like a fusion of voguing and hip-hop dance. Okay? So, as usual, here comes my girl, honey, and she is always late to the party. She done pulled her little look together, baby, and she's like, I'm going to come in here, and I'm going to let them have it down on the ballroom. Baby, and she entered, and Pray Tell looked over and said, what is it now, Miss Candy? She done rolled through, dressed as Madonna. Dressed as Madonna. She had the whole vibe, the comb bra, and all of this. And somebody forgot to tell her, baby, we done moved on. We done moved on. We ain't living for Madonna no more. Madonna's cool, but we're not living for her no more. We're moving on. And, honey, here she is dressed like Madonna. She got the ponytail, honey. And the kids were over it, honey. And then she's out there trying to Vogue. It was some old flicked-ass Vogue she was doing. Honey, and they were giving her, oh, Miss Candy. Oh, Miss Candy. So same thing as it always is. Her and Pray Tell get into it, and he's telling her, you are not a dancer, you are not a voguer, girl, you're a clown. What are you doing? Girl, again, $1 late and a day short, honey, or the other way. It's a day short and $1 late, honey. You're just ridiculous. And they go back and forth, and she tells Pray Tell, I'm a star. I'm somebody, and you're going to regret your words. And he told her, okay, Jesse Jackson. Okay, Jesse Jackson, get off my floor, Miss Candy. And, of course, the scores match. So she's pissed off and she leaves one up out of there. I said, poor Miss Candy. Then we see Nurse Judy and Blanca. They kind of ambush Pray Tell, and they're fussing at him about not taking the AZT. And he's going on, and he's afraid. He's afraid. And that was the biggest part of it. Because, again, AZT was really making people sick and this kind of thing. But it is what it is. Blanca's numbers are actually doing better. And Pray Tell's being Pray Tell. Old school. Old school. And he's old school acting out. And so he gets mad. It wasn't that bit sharp. Pray Tell's his little burgundy and or what was it, burgundy, cranberry and cream pinstripe 3-piece. I said, come on, Pray Tell rags. But he was mad. He walked on out of there and laughed. He was like, all right, girl. So then we see Pray Tell sitting with the council, and they're actually trying to come up with new categories. And they present the idea of a lip sync category. And Pray Tell is like, no. Absolutely not. Absolutely not. Because that's just... See, there was a time where in the ballroom, when it comes to the girls, the femme queens and the drag queens, it was really like about looking like... Because it's gone through different time periods. In the beginning... The girls' place was they were trying to look like showgirls. It was all beads, baubles, and feathers, and that whole Las Vegas showgirl type of thing. Then it moved on to looking like high fashion supermodels. And they were trying to segue this thing of like the regular, like drag queens in New York, because of course drag performance has always been a part of the LGBTQ community. We enjoy it. Whenever there's money to be made, they lean to the drag performers, because drag performers always brings in money. It has always brought in money. But that doesn't fit into the ballroom. It's always kind of just not, it just, that in the ballroom, they just don't kind of, you know what I mean? That's over there. This is over there. The whole drag performance thing, follow me here. I'm getting ready to say something that's not going to be politically correct. It is more of the white gay bar situation, okay? You can go over there. You can make a living over there in the white gay bar. It is still that. It is still very much that. And the white gay bar scene, as well as the now, you know, some heterosexual situations. You know, like I tell you all the time, I don't really fool with the bar scene much anymore when it comes to performance, but that's where I started. That's where I started. I do a lot of private parties and special events with more heterosexual crowds. That's where there's money to be made there. Then you have the drag race situation, which drag race is still, that's the more, that's like mainstream white America. And, you know, it just is what it is. And I hate to bring the color thing into it, but when you go, if you go further south, like you go to Atlanta and stuff like that, there are black bars that you can make good money. But again, it is what it is. It's always kind of been that way. It's always been that way. It's more lucrative on the Caucasian side of things. And that, again, anybody who would like to try to debunk it, hit the comments. We can have a conversation. But I know what I know 24 plus years later. I know what I know. Period. Moving on. So, that was the whole thing. The Pray Tell was against it. Pray Tell was against it. And the council was kind of like laughing it off. And then Miss Candy was in the restaurant overhearing this conversation, and then she made her way over to them and yeah, basically crashed the meeting and ends up getting into it with Pray Tell, ends up pulling the damn knife off the table and puts the knife to Pray Tell, and he's like, "What you gonna do, bitch? What are you going to do? You going to shank me right in broad daylight, Miss Candy? Is that what you're going to do? Go ahead and do it, bitch." And she's like, oh, you know, her and Pray Tell just don't be having it for each other. They just go at it. And she got mad, and she's like, you know, I'm a performer. There's money being made. But again, like he told her, yes, downtown in those white bars, girl, going down there, honey, and pretend to sing the song. And that's a lot of how a lot of people in the ballroom kind of felt like, girl, what are you doing, honey? And trust me, on the other side, there are queens who actually do drag shows that look at the bar. And this is still to this day. Draggers who look at the ballroom and be like, child, what the hell are they doing? And now, keep in mind, where now there are a lot of monetary categories that carry money prizes. Back in the day, back where we're at with Pose, there were no money prizes. Everything was about a trophy. So the drag queens, they really didn't, the show queens, child, they're like, girl, bye. I don't understand it. I don't understand. I have had these conversations with close friends. They're like, girl, I don't understand why you want to bother with that ballroom mess. Child, ain't no money over there. It's all about a trophy. What am I doing with a trophy? It's a whole different thing. That's when you learn in life, everything is not about money. Everything is not about money. And if you live a life where everything is about money, you have a very limited, strange existence around the world, in my opinion. I have always fused myself into both worlds. I've always done pageants. I've always done the show thing, and I've always done the ballroom. I fused myself. I was a part of all of it. And I was very happy to be. And I was known each place. And very happy with that and very proud of myself to be able to exist in all those different worlds. And I'm not the only one of my kind. But anyway, so that whole thing went on. She's throwing shit at Pray Tell, and they look and they like, "Child, she must be a Scorpio." And I'm like, and I laughed, and I don't know if everybody caught that joke, but I caught it because I have a Scorpio. He's born November 21st. So I caught it. I don't know about anybody else. Scorpios are interesting. But anyway, so I laughed at that. Then we move on. We're at a ball, and Lulu comes to Angel, and she's like, what's going on? No, it was Angel came and got Blanca. Took her back to talk to Lulu. Lulu's kind of upset. She's saying, well, where's, she said, what's going on? She said, I can't find Candy. Candy didn't come home, this, that, thing, and the other. And she goes in and she shares with Blanca that Candy has been turning tricks. And, she has her little routine and all of this, and she didn't show up back at home. So, here we got a whole mess. So, the two of them, Blanca goes with Lulu, and they go down to the hotel looking for Miss Candy. And they didn't get a big reception from this guy. He was like a jerk, which most people were back then, who was working the front desk and all of this. So, they ended up leaving the phone number. Blanca left her phone number, and everybody was into this whole thing. We're going to find Candy. Gets a phone call. They find out that Miss Candy has actually been beaten and killed by a date and left in the closet down at the hotel. So they call Lulu over, and they call Electra over, and they have that whole thing. They explain to her what happened. Nurse Judy gets back into play. They end up going, they want to do a proper funeral for Candy, because there's a lot of this going on. And this brings us into the whole situation of our trans girls and how our trans girls are getting murdered. This is not new. You're starting to hear a lot about this in our real world now. You hear a lot about it. All of you who are watching me now, if you're on YouTube and stuff like that, you hear more talk about it. You're hearing it on the news and stuff now. But baby, this is not new. This is not new. The trans girls were known for working in the sex world, and they're also known for losing their lives in the sex world. We know about it, but mainstream and everything, it didn't used to get discussed. Now it's starting to get coverage. But people have been killing our trans girls. Child, it's like another epidemic, honey. It's really nothing for someone to take and kill one of our trans girls, honey, and people act like they don't care. This is not new. It's not new. People are just starting to pay attention, and it's being talked about more, thank goodness. Nurse Judy got with them, and they actually went and ended up being able to pull a favor from this little Asian guy who worked down to the morgue and for the city and all of that. So they were able to actually get the body because nobody was, next of kin. But he pulled a little thing and he went ahead and he did it. So they were able to do a proper funeral. Angel got in touch with Candy's mother and father, and they were not receptive. So it's like, okay, the normal, same old stuff. We go to the funeral home. So the man at the funeral home who actually did the actual embalming and all of this, he was so nice. Bless his little soul. He was so nice. He got Candy together and he was saying, you know, she's been here a lot, seeing people like every other month. I was seeing her and she always was nice and she always called me by my name, and that was nice. She was very nice. I liked her. And he said, I embalmed her myself. I got her. He was so happy with his little self that he got her together. Baby, he had Miss Candy up there looking like church. Baby, she was laying there with her little hands crossed, honey, and she looked like, what was a good job to him. Like church. Not like her regular self, but like a respectable church. Well, she looked nice. She really did look nice, but she looked old. They had her looking old. I said, oh, girl, you looking old, bitch. They had her laying up in there, honey. She had on a little squeezer and carrying on, honey, and it was Blanca, Electra, and Angel, and they were like, girl, we got 2 hours before the people start falling in here, bitch. Everybody go in your purse. Let's get ready. Baby, they went in there and they redid Miss Candy. You hear me? And they came back, baby, and when the people finally got there, she was looking like Miss Candy, baby. She was looking like a $2 hoe. She had her, they had her regular hair done and had her cheeks pulled and still got $2 out, like regular Miss Candy, honey. So I fell out laughing. I said, I know that's right. So they got her together. And then we hear Lulu says she not coming because she just couldn't do it. She couldn't stand to sit and see her in that vein. I understand Miss Lulu. So Miss Lulu was planning on not coming. So we start going through the funeral. A lot of people showed up for Candy. And then it started getting real deep. So Pray Tell naturally is going to do the speaking. Now, you know, Pray Tell and her always go at it. So he goes up and then he says, let's have a moment of silence. He comes back down, he sits down, and then Miss Candy showed up, honey. And the spirit of Miss Candy jumped over there, baby, and had a nice little conversation with her boy Pray Tell. And baby, they got to going back and forth, honey, and they was going at it, and she was questioning, and he was talking, and it was a whole little situation, and a lot of little issues got covered, where she's like, why are you always so mean to me, bitch? What did I ever do to you? And again, now remember, we're talking the spirit of Miss Candy and the subconscious of Pray Tell. So now Lion ain't gonna get it. Lion's not gonna get it. It's a real, true, live conversation about what really goes on, and out of the mouth of Pray Tell, who we love so much, because we do love Pray, but Pray ain't perfect. Pray Tell's not perfect, okay? And he had to bear his soul as well. Things about self-hate and jealousy. Though he's flamboyant, but he's not over the top. But he's flamboyant. And when you think about it, all the girls, remember, we are in New York City back in the early 90s and the early 2000s, all of that. 2000s. Lot of Latinas, a lot of Puerto Ricans, and like that. Not very many dark-skinned queens. She is out there by herself. The only two dark-skinned queens you really see is Candy on the femme queen side, and you see Pray Tell. So there's some things about her that she's jealous of, that she's able to actually walk that walk. And he knows that her walk is a little different things like that. But you see it a lot. You see it a lot, and it's crazy because even in this day and time, I see a ton of people I encounter people all the time who literally, why do they hate things about me? Because the things about me that I celebrate, a lot of them hate about themselves. The fact that they are effeminate, they can't stand it. And a lot of times they're in this whole denial state of the fact that they are effeminate. I'm not effeminate. Meanwhile, baby, just as girly, and their effeminance shows up sometimes more than mine's, and they basically can't stand it. about me. They'll say smart things about me or try to down me about, and it nothing. Not all it is a lot of self-hate and a lot of jealousy, and it runs rampant through the gay community. It runs rampant. You've been told your whole life that this is wrong. This is what's wrong with you. And then some people buy into it and they hate it. And then when they come in contact with other people who are those things, sometimes they will take to you. They'll take to you and they'll have a good time with you. And when they're with you, they can actually let their hair down and be themselves and be comfortable being themselves because you're not judging them. Remember, I've been a house mother for a lot of years. I've had gay children for a lot of years. I have many gay children. I've been through this stuff. Friends and gay children, they see this thing and they're comfortable being with me and hanging out. And then there's the flip side. There's the flip side where I have to catch them and correct them because there's times when they'll try to shade me when they're around other people. They'll try to shade me or point out things about me that they don't like. Well, meanwhile, they share it. And sometimes the things that they are claiming they don't like about me are amplified on their side. But it's not personal. And I've learned to kind of say, they grow out of it at some point, sometimes, if they're lucky. But it's a lot of self-hate and a lot of jealousy. I try not to hold it against them too much because I know it's an internal struggle. I've never had that. So I try to work with them. Does it come out fair for you all? No, it don't always come out fair. You sometimes end up in a position where you're being misused by your so-called friend. But you know that it really isn't personal. It is a literal self-indulged battle that they're actually having. So you just kind of let them slide sometimes. And then sometimes you get sick of their bullshit and you got to let them go. But anyway, so this is what I thought that was very interesting that they actually touched on that. Some people may not have actually even caught that or caught that it really is that deep. It really is that deep. Baby, I'm telling you, this gay shit, it comes in layers and it comes in waves. You understand me? Keep paying attention, honey. I'll give you a whole lot. I'll teach you a whole lot during these pose reviews. You understand? Keep listening, children. Keep listening. I got lots to say. Lots to say. Okay, so then the next thing that we run into is Miss Angel. Miss Angel approaches, because after they did the little moment of silence, Pray Tell gave time for each person to come up and be able to talk, to come up and say what they wanted to say about Candy. Give people their own time. Miss Angel went up to the casket and then same thing. Here comes the spirit of Miss Candy to speak with Miss Angel and her self-conscious. Angel was going through a little bit of survivor's remorse, if you were. I think this was the correct term for it. This could have very easily been me. Why me and why not? Why you and why not me? And to tell you the truth, I always thought that this demise was going to actually be Angel's. Because a lot of things in Pose, they followed some things from Paris is Burning. And Angel's character fits Venus's character, Venus Extravaganza. It fits her character to the T. And she, in the documentary Paris is Burning, Venus actually met her demise in the hotel room at the hands of a date. I always thought it was going to be Angel that this happened to, but it ended up happening to Miss Candy. And I'll tell you, I thought that Candy was going to be the girl that gets on drugs. And it was going to be drugs that was going to take Candy down. She's going to go down a whole different road. But they switched it up on me. They got me, but that was cool. So she went through that whole thing, the whole survivor's remorse thing. And Candy let her know, bitch, think better of yourself and do better. You're the bitch that's going to put us on the map. And she gave her that boost. It was that little push. It's like, girl, you are, because, she said it's hard. She's like, no, you are the first. You're the first. Girl, you done made it mainstream. Keep going. Keep going. You're going to be the girl that makes the difference. So that was a child, that got me right up in here. I was like, oh my gosh. I was like, that's exactly what she needed to hear. She needed to hear it, and not just from Blanca. You know what I mean? Because she's so used to hearing these things from Blanca, but she needed to hear it from her actual peer and not her gay mother. And then Angel was actually leaving out, and she runs into Miss Lulu in the hallway. Miss Lulu's out there in the hallway, and she was like saying, I'm just afraid I don't want to see her like that, this, that thing, and the other. Angel talked to her, told her, no, you need to go ahead and pay your respects. Because if you don't, tomorrow it's going to be too late, and you're really going to regret it. So she walked down with her, and she let Miss Lulu go up. Baby, and this thing went ahead and took a turn to the left. And I was like, because I was about dying at this point. I was like, child, y'all get ready. Y'all wearing me out here. Y'all are wearing me out. I'm about ready to run up out of here. It's just too much. It was just getting heavy. Baby, that Lulu went down there, honey, and she's talking with Miss Candy, honey, and she said, girl, you was always a thieving bitch. All the shit you got on, bitch, it's all my shit. Child, she gets the yanking and pulling, set my gloves and my brooch and the bow in her hair. Girl, just stripping the corpse down. Stripping the corpse down, baby, and taking her things and putting them in her purse, honey, and leaving her. And they were like, oh, hell no, bitch. So they go grab her, honey. She's like, get off of me, honey. You fucking bitches don't know me. Baby, she walk on out of there. She goes sit down outside, baby. She's hot. She got to have her a cigarette. I said, oh, my goodness. And then she gets to have her conversation outside with Miss Candy. And Miss Candy told her, girl, you never did like me, bitch. You never did. And that's when they start going back and forth. It's the whole colorism thing. And here it was colorism, but it was really more on Candy's part. Candy felt like Lulu didn't like her because of the fact that she was light and she was dark. But it was kind of embedded on Candy. It was on Candy's side. Lulu didn't really have a problem with Candy. Candy was being mean to Lulu where there wasn't even an issue. You had the issue. Lulu was cool with you and didn't have a problem with the fact that you were a dark-skinned queen. You had your own embedded jealousies, and you used to be mean to Lulu. So they loved each other, but there was a jealousy thing there, and the jealousy was on the side of Candy, and so she was being mean to Lulu. So this is why they had this relationship they had, and they were literally frenemies. And you have that in the gay world a lot. That frenemy shit, baby, let me tell you, it exists. It exists, and it ain't always about. Sometimes it's about colorism. Sometimes it's about ageism, feminism. It just like with everything else, honey. Just like with everything else. But yes, it is. It's interesting being friends with your gay brothers and sisters, honey, because yes, there are frenemies, and yes, it. Baby, listen, it exists. Just like it exists in the real world, how women have problems trusting other women. Honey, the little boys have problems trusting the other little boys too, honey. And trust me, I've had it when it comes down to age. Like I said, you being effeminate, anything that they can use. Child, the frenemy shit is real. It's real in the field. You understand? So I was like, oh my God, y'all are touching on so much stuff here, and it's crazy. It's crazy between the self-hate and the jealousy, the frenemy shit, and all of this stuff. Sometimes you really do say, is it even worth it? Is it even worth it? And that's when you find people. Now tell me you don't know somebody like this who is gay, who identifies with being gay, but will tell you in a minute, I don't mess with them gay kids. I don't fool with them. I don't fool with them. And they like to live a life where they're the only one. Well, guess what, bitch? You'll never be the only one. We're everywhere. But tell me that you don't know somebody. If you know somebody who is gay and identifies with being gay, but tell you in a minute that they don't mess with other gay folks, put a 1 in the chat. Anyway, moving on, Mr. Colwell, moving on, but boom, bam, and I'm back. Let's go. Okay, so, and then we look up, Electra come through. Electra rolls up because, of course, there was a silent piece with Blanca and Miss Candy. Because remember, Blanca is Miss Candy's. She's their drag mother. She was their mother, okay? So she is to them, to Lulu and Candy, what Electra is to her. And Electra is their mother overall, okay? So her and Blanca and Candy, there were no words. They were just sitting there and they were rocking to Yes, Jesus Loves Me. They were humming Yes, Jesus Loves Me. And she was interrupted by Electra, who came up and said, girl, there's a couple out there, little black couple out there, honey, looking like George and Wheezy, honey, and they're partaking in our refreshments, honey. You need to go out there and make them stop, honey. I said, not George and Wheezy, still in the refreshments, honey. Here it is. She goes out there, baby, and it's Candy's mother and father. Now, wait, I'm ready to go off track here, and this me being simple, because y'all know I'm simple. They got a lot of nerve. Now, y'all wasn't even going to come to the funeral. Y'all, y'all was feeling some kind of way, and y'all wasn't coming to the funeral. But what you do is come in there and you eating the food? Really? Yeah, I said, yeah, that's her parent. As soon as they said it, when she said they're partaking in our refreshments, I said, they tacky. I said, I bet that's Candy's mother and father. Sure enough, when that lady turned around, she looked just like Candy. I said, oh, that's Mrs. Candy, honey, and they're eating the food. I said, a mess. Anyway, I digress. Okay, so they actually did come. It was nice. Candy had a little situation with her mother, where her mother basically, it's like her mother didn't really realize that her mother was just living in a cloud, honey. I thought you just going through, so I thought you going to grow out of it, that basic kind of thing. That denial. Her mother was living in denial. Her father, when she talked to him, her father was actually her champion. Her father seen and knew what was going on and would not punish her, but her father would sneak and give her some of the little girly things and some of the leeway to be girly because he knew what was going on with his child. But I think it seemed to me like the father always kind of just went along with the mother, and the mother was the more push. The mother's the one that denied him. And the father just kind of went along with the mother. I said, oh, ain't that backwards? But, I mean, it does happen. It does happen. So it shows. Sometimes the father ain't always the one that says, I'm not having it. Sometimes it is the mother. And the father will follow behind with the mother. Whereas, remember, with Damon, it was his father that wasn't having it. And the mother followed along with the father with the bull crap. So, child, they show it all. I love this show. They show it all. Okay, so they thanked them for coming. Pray tell, broke it all down. They were ending the funeral, and they went ahead and they stated that they were going to add a lip sync category in honor of Miss Candy into the ballroom because they feel the need to give Miss Candy her flowers. Little too late, but they can give her flowers. And then, baby, is when they took me out, honey. And they said, call for the pallbearers, and the pallbearers came up, honey, and we went into this whole sequence where they were taking her out, but they didn't just take her right out of the church. They actually walked her into the ballroom, and I noticed, I said, wait a minute, Miss Candy got on something different. Baby, she had on her good Whitney Houston wig, honey, and was looking good. She's looking good, baby. They had glitter all up in her hair. She had this red little fringe flapper number on. Honey, Miss Candy was looking good. I said, come on, Miss Candy. And then I heard the music, and it was giving me my Stephanie Mills, honey. I never knew love like this before. I said, come on, child. And Miss Candy performed her little tail off. Miss Candy turned it out. She did the little lip sync. I said, come on through, Miss Candy. So that was really good. The performance was really good. It was very touching. Child, y'all know I love Stephanie Mills to death. And I was all in. I was living for Miss Candy's red shoe, honey. That little red sandal was everything, Miss Candy. Honey. I said, come on through, Miss Candy. So, y'all know I love the character of Miss Candy and all her craziness. And I will say, Miss Candy left the show with a bang, honey. And we will not forget you at all, Miss Candy. I'm going to miss saying that every week, honey. What is it now, Miss Candy? She's one of my favorites. She's a girl you love to hate, honey. But, yeah, she went out with a bang. She really did. And in the very last scene, we actually got to see Pray Tell finally, everything. He had his little conversation with Miss Candy, and it all came full circle. He started to take his AZT. He started taking his meds. So that is good. That is good. This episode was definitely worth the 2-week wait, because we had a week where we didn't have an episode. They came back with a bang. Ryan, you did that. It was excellent. It was excellent. And I know this is a long review, and I don't care. I did it, so what? I had a lot to say. It was a longer episode as well, because the episode was like over an hour long. This was a good episode, and I really enjoyed it. And just so you know, the lip sync situation did go on in the ballroom for a little bit, but it got gone. It dissipated. It didn't last very long. Because they just don't go. They just don't go. And from time to time, you'll actually see a drag performance. I saw a drag performance at a ball about a month ago on a ballroom throwbacks video, and I was sitting there like, if you want to get on out of here, they just don't go. The two things just don't go. But anyway, all right. And that's coming from a drag performer. It just doesn't fit. It just doesn't. The kids just don't live for it. I mean, it could work. If the kids were into it, it would be fine. But it doesn't work. The kids aren't into it. So, child, don't take it personal. Just come on up out of there with that. Take it on back to the bar and to the mainstream little private parties or whatever you're going to do. It just doesn't have a place in the ballroom. That's just the way it is. Is what it is, honey. Welcome to our world, honey. Listen. It's been real. I will see you all 1 week, 7 days. I'll see y'all later.